Good evening, guys. We're back for the 19th episode of Real Relevant and Right Now. And this episode is called Check Your Boobs. It's going to be a super amazing show. We've got an absolute amazing guest on tonight's show, Jamie Deane. She's going to be sharing her story basically of her battle with breast cancer, and it's going to be really super inspiring. And I also just think it's so important because, you know, us as women, we're not necessarily taught these things in school, you know, how to check our boobs or how important mammograms are. So we're going to be delving into statistics, and it's just going to be amazing. So really looking forward to this show. Hey guys, everyone that's joining us. Hey Ems. Oh, what is going on with the throat today, guys? It's a lot. I feel like, a bit of a tiz. Do you know what I mean? How is everyone? How's everyone's weekend been? I hope you is good. I'm going to wait for a few more of you to join, and then I'm going to get Jamie on because she's here. How's everyone's Sunday been today? How's everyone's week been? I feel like everyone's been feeling a bit meh. I really wasn't very well last week, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I didn't have Rona, in case anyone asked. No, I didn't have Rona, but yeah. Hey Indra, hey Kashayan, hiya. Hey Mel, amazing to see you all. I hope you're all doing well and you've had a good weekend. What's everyone having for dinner? It's Sunday, innit? I've just completely lost my appetite, but there's lots of beautiful smells going through my house right now. It's lovely. Right, okay, guys, I'm going to get the beautiful Jamie on in a seconda. Hey, Law! Oh, my God. Amazing. I love you so much that you're here. This is just going to be amazing, and I need to talk to you properly afterwards. But I hope you're well, beautiful girl. Okay, so let's get Jay on this show now. She should go live. Volume. Oh, I just took a screenshot myself. Beautiful. Yep, my volume's up. Jamie! Oh, Jay, I can't hear you. Speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we've got you. Oh, my God, how are you, beautiful?
Good. How are you, gorgeous?
I'm well, thank you. So, everyone, as I was saying, this is Real Relevant and Right Now, the 19th episode. And we've called this episode Check Your Boobs because we have such a special guest on. This is Jamie Deane, everybody. Jamie, I just feel like go ahead, tell everybody your story from the beginning because you were diagnosed with breast cancer last year, right?
Yes, I was, yes.
And you're now currently in present day, you've been in remission since June, so about 4 months.
Yeah.
So let's just take it right back to that daunting day. Kind of let everybody know your story and what happened and how you found out that you had breast cancer.
So yeah, it was end of last year, so it was around November time. I was, October time actually, that I was, never forget that. Literally, I was laying on my bed with my niece. We was just laughing about something. And I started getting shooting pains in my breast. And at the time, I didn't really think too much about it. I was thinking, maybe I've laughed too much. I was thinking indigestion. So I didn't really think about it. And I think it was like the day after I had the pain again. So I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. And it just crossed my mind. I was in the shower one, I think maybe the day after, and I was like, let me just have a check. So I was checking my boobs, and yeah, I just come across a lump, and I was like, it was a round, hard lump, so I could tell the difference between like boob tissue and lump. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, because I think that's a real key thing, isn't it, Jamie? When I remember when you and I had a conversation the other day, and I was saying like, I've never really been taught what to check for. So I think that's a really key thing. Like you definitely felt that this was something that was abnormal. It wasn't like your normal tissue.
It was solid, it was round, it hurt when I touched it, so that was another indication. I was like, you know, if you check your boobs with tissue, it doesn't hurt. But funny enough, I was like, okay, there's obviously something's a bit wrong, but I wasn't like overly concerned. I didn't like rush to make an appointment or anything. I happened to actually have a doctor's appointment about something else and just mentioned it to her. So she had a time. She was like, oh, I think it's just a cyst, but obviously we'll get you referred and get you checked out. And then obviously got checked out, and unfortunately it was breast cancer.
And that's what it was. And I'm so sorry, Jay, that you went through this, honestly, because you're such a beautiful soul. But I just think everything that you're doing, which is why, you know, when I reached out to you and you were like, yes, I'm going to come on the show, I was so honoured, actually, because I just think you are such an admirable person after everything you've been through, and you're still here, shining your light, wanting to, raise awareness in, you know, with women when it comes to breast cancer, but also, you know, share your story, which is a really difficult thing to do as well, you know. So just, I really commend you and really thank you for being on the show. I honestly do.
Me. I'm very nervous though, and today I'm actually having quite an emotional day today.
Are you?
Emotions at the minute, so today's one of them days where I might just do a little cry.
It's okay, because if you cry, I'll cry with you. I don't know, there's something in the air. There must be something in the air. But no, there's nothing to be nervous about, Jay, honestly, and you're amazing, like I said, and everyone's here. They're here to hear you. But Jay, going back to what you were talking about, you know, what went through your mind when you heard from the doctor, you know, that it was breast cancer?
To be honest with you, nothing. It was complete and utter shock. That's all it was. I didn't have any words, any thoughts. It was just honest shock. I remember looking at the doctor and just thinking, and just looking at him like, I was like really confused, to the point where they literally was like, took me to a side room and was like, you know, stay in here for a while, gather your thoughts, and then we'll come back and, you know, talk to you about the next step.
Yeah, of course.
At the time, I remember then I started crying. I remember ringing my older sister, and she was like, Jane, you know, you'll be all right. We'll get through this. Sorry, I feel emotional talking about it.
It's okay. Take your time.
At the time, like, my kids, I just thought, after I'd like, obviously had my cry in my head, I just thought my children, I've got to just do this for them. And that was kind of my focus from the get-go, was just my children.
100%. And do you feel like they were like a super driving force, like with you kind of, I suppose, almost going into like super mum mode, like just, you know, having to deal with being mum, but also deal with the fact that, you know, you've been hit with this awful news, you've got cancer, you've now got to go on this journey. How important was it for you to kind of keep a positive mindset, and how difficult was that for you?
Well, at the time, I suppose, again, I didn't really feel positive or negative. I was kind of just trying to like digest it all and just kind of just figure it out. And to this day, I can't remember who said it to me. I wish I could, but I remember someone saying to me, you really just need to remain positive. That will get you through. And it just stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a positive person in terms of, you know, when things happen in my life or my family's life, I always think things could be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how I get through things in life anyway. And obviously for me, I was very lucky that, you know, it was like the earlier stage. It was like in the middle. I was stage 2. So in my head, I was thinking, first of all, I'm lucky that it's treatable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. I will be here for my children. So I was very grateful for that. But then on the other hand, I was kind of like you said, I kind of went into like superwoman. Like I just went into like the mode of like routine. I just went really like OCD with it all, to be honest. I just took every day as it comes and just like focused on the children, really. That was kind of the way I got through it.
Yeah. And when you say like routine, was that a really important part of you throughout this process, because you are a mum, because you've got your 2 beautiful babies, to keep that routine kind of as normal as possible?
100%. That was the first thing I said. It was like, I don't want nothing to change. I wanted it to be that my children, when they get older, they kind of don't remember it. You know, I didn't want them disturbing memories and stuff like that. So I kind of just kept it as normal as I possibly could.
Which I'm guessing is so hard, because are your children quite young?
Well, I've got a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old. So
they are, yeah, you know, they are young, even though one's a lot younger than the other. But it's kind of like, how did you tell them straight off? How did you kind of relay that news to your kids? Because I bet that was super, super difficult.
It was. And it's funny, at the time when I found out, it was really overwhelming, really. They was obviously talking straight away about what they was going to do next. And then also there was that about the children. They give you like a booklet and an actual book for younger kids to read a story to them. It kind of tells you the whole journey. But I didn't want to tell my children straight away, especially until I knew exactly what was going to happen and then I could plan again my routine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If I didn't tell them initially, I didn't tell them straight away.
You didn't,
no.
Which is totally understandable. I mean, in that situation, what does one do? You know, like you said, you were in shock, and then you've got to tell your beautiful baby something that they're probably not going to understand. Yeah. And, you know, this whole kind of connotation that we have around this word, just cancer alone, is so daunting, isn't it? That I completely understand why you would have kind of held back. When you were at the actual doctors, Jamie, did they kind of explain to you the process? Or was it literally going to be like a step-by-step? You just didn't really know what was coming? Like, did they let you know what was going to happen after the diagnosis?
Yeah, straight away he said to me, so we're going to start you with chemotherapy. And then he said you'll have surgery and then possibly you'll have radiotherapy. So they kind of said to me what was going to happen. straight away, which was good. They didn't want to mess about. They wanted to just get it done as soon as possible.
Yeah, which I'm sure gave you a bit of clarity. At least you know where you were going.
Yeah.
And obviously you did go through chemotherapy, right?
Yes.
And what was that like for you? Because we all hear, you know, chemotherapy, it can be awful, but you actually suffered from a lot of the side effects. Can you like talk to us a little bit about some of those that you went through that, you know, we don't necessarily always hear about these kind of side effects that somebody goes through once they've been through chemotherapy?
Yeah. Well, firstly, for anyone listening that like to know, with chemotherapy, I actually found out when I started, the younger you are, the more likely you are to suffer with the side effects. And obviously, with my age, you know, I unfortunately I did have a lot of them. So
and can I just say, even you saying that is crazy, because I know like when you and I spoke, you would naturally think the older you are, the worse
yeah,
the side effects are going to be. But
definitely.
with breast cancer, or with chemotherapy, should I say, it's the opposite, right?
Then 100%.
Yeah, which is just, you just wouldn't think that at all. So what were some of the side effects that you went through?
So it was like extreme. I suffer with migraines anyway, but they were like 1,000 times worse. Headache constantly.
Really?
Extreme body aches. I can't even describe the pain that it was. Sometimes I couldn't even move. Even to try and put a bra or a top on, it was just impossible. Just so like literally to just touch the skin was so painful.
So your skin itself was
Yeah,
like sore?
yeah, yeah.
Wow, Jamie. And it's like, these are all the things that we never really, unless you know someone close to you,
Yeah.
or like yourself, you've been through it, you don't necessarily, you know, it's like we've seen like with your video post that you've put on Facebook, and you're so brave for doing that, can I just say, but it's like you've posted your journey, and we've seen certain stages that you were at, and now we see you now looking absolutely gorgeous. And it's like all those intricate details that you just don't even know that that's also what you're going through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
And
when you say you had sorry.
no, it's okay. And I just thought it was really important for me to do that, because I was just, like you said, you hear of cancer, but it's also, you know, generally you hear of it in older people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like even like I know my granddad and that went through it, but they never really spoke about what this was. So for me, especially being young and not being able to, you know, you can Google things and stuff like that, but there was never anyone for me to talk to. So I just felt it was really important to put it out there. So for anyone that's going through it, they can actually see like step by step. Obviously, everyone is different, and it is
Of
different
course.
for people, but you know, at least they can get some sort of idea.
Yeah, no, completely. And just bringing you up on that point that you just raised, like, I know that statistically, when it comes to breast cancer, your risks of getting it as a woman increase kind of from the age of 50 onwards. Now, in your case, you were 30. So
Yeah,
you were super, super young. You're the same age as me.
yeah,
And I think, you know, when you spoke to me, you said to me that you found it so difficult because there weren't really any support groups for young women,
mm,
because it's, I suppose, a disease that is aimed at the older women, or it's
yeah,
statistically found in the older women, which, okay, that's fine, but in the same token, in your situation, what do we then do,
yeah.
you know, when we do get women that will get this at a young age? How, you know, what would have you like, what would you have liked to have seen that could have really helped you in that moment? Do you know what I mean, when you didn't feel
Yeah.
like you had anyone to talk to?
See, it's a really hard one, because don't get me wrong, there's like, you know, there's so many groups out there. Macmillan are absolutely amazing, and you know, I probably could have looked more into it, but obviously at the time I was really ill. But I just found that when I did, you know, like, I did do like a makeup course, which was really nice. But again, I was a lot younger than anyone there, and every time I went for chemo, again, I was like a lot younger than everyone. So I never, like the few things I did, I never bumped into anyone that was kind of my kind of age. So that. And so for me, I just feel like, I don't know, like, yeah, it would just be nice to maybe have that kind of someone to reach out and be like, you know, there is this group that is more aimed at the younger person, because, you know, cancer is cancer, and you know, it's awful for any age to get it,
Of
but
course.
it helps when you've got somebody, it's like anything in life, you know, that you can relate to, and you can kind of get tips and advice. Do you know what I mean? So that would have for me personally made my journey a lot easier.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's why I just really, really commend what you're doing. And I just think the more that we can talk about it, like you've said, and, you know, come on platforms like this where you can share your story, hopefully the more this will ripple out. So, you know, you can get something. Maybe you could even start something yourself, like
Yeah,
your own, you know, because I do understand completely, cancer is cancer, breast cancer is breast cancer, and it is going to affect everyone differently. But I know that, you know, we spoke about this, as young women, our values are very different to that of maybe a 50-year-old woman's values in life, you know. And one of the things that we discussed was, which I know that you found super, super hard. And for anyone that hasn't seen Jamie's video that she put out there, guys, I posted it on my Facebook. It's also on Jamie's Facebook. But there's one crucial part of that video, which honestly, it broke my heart, Jamie, and it's when you were realizing your hair was coming out. And that is such, to anyone it might seem like it's a small thing, but as a woman I can relate to you with the fact that, like, my hair is everything, you know. My hair is a part of me, and it really is like part of my character and how I am, you know. So how difficult was it for you when you started that transition of losing your hair?
That was, you know, me just being brutally honest, that for me was the hardest part. That was the hardest part for me, and that's something that I will always struggle with moving forward. You know, like you said, as a woman, I mean, I'm not a vain person at all. If anything, I'm like not confident, stuff like that. So it's not about that. It was just about it's just obviously the looking different. It's, for me, I hate people staring. You know, you've got no hair, automatically people are like, they've got cancer. My children, me looking very different from my children. There was a few reasons why, but overall, like, I really, really, really struggled with that, to the point where, you know, when my hair was falling out, they did prepare me after my first chemo and said that, you know, I think it's within 18 days your hair starts to fall out, and they say it's painful. So most people end up shaving it off to prevent, you know, the pain process going through it. But for me personally, I struggled with that, so I held on to literally the last minute, which in hindsight I wish I'd just done it, because I was in a lot of pain, you know, beforehand. But yeah, like, even the day that my partner shaved it off for me, it was just, it was really, really difficult. Really difficult.
And I think, you know what, I think that is such a testament to your character and your strength when you say, you know, it could have been a lot less painful if you had have just shaved it off, but because it meant so much to you, you stayed true to you, and you stood there in your integrity and said, you know what, I'm not actually ready to let go of this, and I'm not gonna. And again, you know, everybody's journey is different, but that was what you chose to do, and I totally commend you and understand why you would have made that decision. Do you know what I mean? And how did you feel when on that day when your partner had to shave your hair, like, and it was just gone?
It was like, do you know what, I kind of like tapped into the children was there, so I made them a part of it, because I wanted them to, and I kind of made it like a happy thing and tried to make it like funny. You know, I remember my youngest, when I first did it, he was just cracking up. He couldn't make me laugh, so he get through it a lot, and he's like my mini me. Everyone looks like me, so when it was off, I was like, oh, we look like twins, and you know, like, so it kind of went like that, and that's I think what helped me get through the actual stage, for sure.
Yeah, like including the family. And, you know, like you said, a positive mindset is super important with something like this. And I know we touched on it before, but I'm such a believer that when you are positive, it boosts our immune system. It's like scientifically proven it does. So that was a key part in your kind of recovery. But also, I can imagine having people around you. You know, did you find comfort in the support that you had around you?
Oh, 100%. It's what got me through, honestly. Like, I was very lucky, very blessed. I've got so many amazing friends and family, my partner, my children, my sister. I've got a twin sister. So I was really lucky. I really, really lucky.
You had everyone. No, 100%.
And they really...
Yeah, no, definitely. And I can imagine that is so important, because I can't imagine, but I can only imagine, you know, when you're going through that, if you were to be on your own, or you didn't have people that you could talk to or relate to, you know, it would be soul destroying. And again, going back to your Facebook video, one of the most beautiful parts, again, which has had me in so many tears, was when you had all your friends and family waiting for you when you came out of your last chemo treatment, James. That was so amazing.
Idea. And it was even more touching, because during the chemo, the COVID hit and all the pandemic and stuff. So for maybe from halfway through to the end, I had to go on my own, whereas before I could take someone with me. So it was really hard for me every time I had to go and sit there on my own. At one point I had to have a blood transfusion because I was anemic. So that I was there for about 7 hours. So that was really hard. So I remember the last one I was there because I just wanted someone there with me. So when I stepped out and saw everyone, I just couldn't believe it.
No, I can imagine. I can
was.
absolutely imagine. And you know what, that's not even something that we really touched upon. And I think that that's, especially in this current pandemic, we're all hearing about corona, and actually effectively getting that virus. But I suppose unless you're going through something, or again, you have somebody near that you know is going through something, you don't actually understand how this virus is affecting
Yeah,
people like yourself who, you know, needed to go for chemo. And, you know, that breaks my heart that you couldn't go with anybody, you know.
yeah.
And I just think, bloody hell, like, you are so strong, Jamie. And I know I keep saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it because you deserve to keep hearing it, because you are an actual superhero. Literally. Just going back to you, you know, and the whole transition of you losing your hair, which I know was super, super difficult for you. One
Yeah.
of the key points that you brought up, and I just don't know if there's any listeners out there or anyone that might be able to, you know, send some information or get in touch with Jay or me, but you said that you found it super difficult to find like hair accessories
Yeah,
for
100%.
young women. Again, for young women. So what did you actually end up doing, Jane?
Well, do you know what? I remember one day I was like Googling, and I was Googling stuff, and then I remembered Alicia Keys used to do like the head wraps a lot. So
Yeah.
and I was like, she looks wicked, she looked beautiful. And I was like, okay, how do you do that? So I remember Googling it, how to do it, and it come up. So I literally bought, like, I went on Amazon and ordered like big like scarves, and I just did it. It's so easy to do, did it myself. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this.
Literally. And you kind of worked out your own little style.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm quite plain Jane. I don't like things that are like, you know, so it was just plain coloured ones, and I just wrapped it and just had like the knot at the front, and that just suited me. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, definitely. And I think that that's something you could, boy, there's a gap in the market there, girl.
yeah,
You could
100,
start your own business, James. Literally, because I think things like that are super important, because we know as well, you know, when it comes to also self-love and trying to look after ourselves, as much as it starts on the inside, we also feel good when we look good on the outside. And you know, like when you're in a situation where you've got no choice, but you know your hair is coming out and it's kind of like, I have to just accept this, what
yeah,
else can I do? You
yeah,
know, having little things like that I think are so important. So I
yeah,
definitely think that, yeah, maybe you should go on Instagram, or I don't know, reach out to other young women
yeah.
that are going through the same thing. But can I just also say that your hair looks absolutely amazing. You look
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah. I mean,
You do.
it's still, I mean, I'm very grateful that my hair's grown back, don't get me wrong, but I am still struggling with it. Just,
Really.
I've never had short hair. It's not something that I've ever even thought of having. So,
Mm.
um, I'm definitely not confident, but I mean, I'm getting there and I'm trying. And
Each day as it comes.
likely, yeah.
No, definitely. And I almost feel it's like you've had a style. It's like what we were saying the other day. Like, I know that I could go to the hairdressers and they cut it like an inch short. So
Yeah,
then I wanted it. And you're like, oh my God, I can't even. What is, do you know what I mean? It's so soul destroying. Like, a couple of weeks ago, my best mate rang me, and this woman like cut about 6 inches off her hair, and it was
yeah,
only meant to be 2 inches, and she was literally in tears for days. And but then, you know, you start to grow into it and you start to adjust to what you have and make the best out of what you have. And at the
yeah.
end of the day, you've got a gorgeous face. Like
Oh,
right now, you're reminding me of like Jada Pinkett
oh,
Smith, like back in the day, like in the 90s. I just think you need to rock it, girl, because you look absolutely beautiful. You really, really do.
thank you.
No, honestly, you do. But I get it. It will take, you know, each day as it comes, like you said, because you've got to work on your confidence. And that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to feel or look any other way. Do you know what I mean, Jamie? Just literally each day as it comes. Jamie, I was going to say to you as well, like, one of the things we spoke about was we know that there wasn't really much support for young women.
Yeah.
If there was anything that you feel that you could begin or start on your own, like, what would it be? Like, if someone is watching today that might be going through the same issue, like, what do you feel that you could maybe do to help those women?
Well, it's quite hard at the minute, obviously, with everything going on, because, you know, ideally I would love to even, I don't know how I'd go about it, but set up some sort of group, you know, something like that. But for now, I'm definitely thinking of, you know, doing something similar to what you do, but just obviously based on my journey. Because, you know, it's the journey of the chemo and the radiotherapy and the surgery, but then also I'm on another journey now. It's not over. Do you know what I mean? I'm still dealing with, you know, certain things. You know, now obviously the emotional side. So it's a long journey. Plus, I've obviously still got enough surgery to go. So to be able to just help somebody and just go through what I've been through and just talk about certain things that are going to be coming up, I would love to do that. So I am thinking of taking that step and just going for it.
And I definitely, I'm supporting you 110%. If there's anything I can do to help, I will. Because I think, you know, that was the whole reason why I started this show, is that I don't feel like us as human beings, when we're going through shit, we don't talk about it enough. And I think talking is such a healing, kind of cathartic process. Yeah. And like you say, if you had a group of women that had gone through or were about to go through, and, you know, like you said before as well, you can Google a million things. You know, sometimes if I'm ill, I'll Google all these things, and I almost like make myself a million times worse. Google is not the one. When you want kind of support or you want information, you do want to be able to talk to a person.
Yeah, because also when I first found out about me, the first thing that the nurse said to me is, do not Google it. She was like, do not do it. She said, because a lot of it is not true. She was like, situations different. And, you know, like we've said, you know, it's one step at a time. So that stuck with me. And I honestly did not Google it, like in terms of like my diagnosis of cancer. I mean, other things like to do with hair and stuff. But yeah, that I just didn't. And I think for anyone out there, just don't do it, because it does make you 10 times worse.
No, 100%. No, and I can only imagine. It would just scare the crap out of you probably. So don't do it. Okay, Jamie, so let's fast forward. You've done your chemotherapy treatment.
Yes.
And then you actually had a single mastectomy, is that right?
I did, yes.
So just let everybody know kind of what is a single mastectomy, what was the whole procedure that you had to go through?
Well, basically so when you have obviously breast cancer, it's like a tumour, and depending on the size, how many you've got, depends on the surgery. So for me, I was obviously, like I said initially, I found a lump, but when after having like an MRI, they found another lump, so I ended up having two. And they were quite far apart. So because they were quite far apart, they had to take the whole boob. Whereas someone else, if you've got a lump and it's small enough, they can just take a section of the boob out, which is called a lumpectomy, I believe. But yeah, because of the gap with mine, they said they needed, and obviously I had quite little boobs, bless me. So they whole thing. So so I ended up having to have it all removed. Everything.
And how was that for you? How did you feel knowing that you were about to lose part of your body?
Initially, it wasn't so much about the boob. It was more just having to go through the surgery, because I've never been through any kind of big surgery before. Mm-hmm. So I'm nervous about that, to be honest. That was kind of my focus rather than
Okay. And I know that when you spoke, you actually said to me that losing your hair was more traumatic for you than actually losing your boob.
100%, yeah.
And that is, you know, and even when you said that to me, I just thought, you know, like, again, because I've not been through it, and as a woman, I would be thinking in my head, oh my gosh, I'm about to lose. But actually, now you've said what you said, it makes you just think of the whole situation in a completely different light. Like, because I get it. I totally get it.
But the thing is that for me personally, like for anyone out there, that's obviously, this is my personal journey.
Of course.
And it's with my situation. So obviously I've got 2 children. I've got a partner. I'm not one that's, you know, I'm just not one that goes out all the time and like attention. So for me personally, it's not, you know, it's not that bad. I can put a top on, you know, it could be hidden.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, completely. And Jane, going back to when you said as well, so obviously you felt pain in your boob, and that's where you then felt the first lump, but you couldn't actually feel the second lump. It wasn't until you had the MRI or the mammogram. Are they the same thing or are they different?
No, they're different.
Okay, so you had an MRI.
Yes.
Which showed up the second lump, which you couldn't have seen and you wouldn't have been able to feel. Which is why, and I know that you are such an advocate of this, mammograms are really super important, because they're going to show up what we can't feel, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, if you know, like, what are mammograms, and, you know, as a woman, how can we get them? Like, do we just go to the doctor?
So with mammogram, first and foremost, when you Google it, which really upsets me, it will say, like, you know, cancer's common in over 50s, and something like, I think I wrote it down. Where did I write it? It said something like that it's really common in over, let me find it, sorry, because I actually read exactly what it said.
No, it's okay.
Where did I write it?
I think maybe, I don't know this because I did write something down. It says mammograms are offered to women aged between 50 to their 71st birthday.
Yeah.
So they're offered to women that are over 50. But what the hell do you do if you're younger?
That's the thing. So I found it. So it said on there, if you are younger than 50, the risk of breast cancer is generally very low. That really, really made me angry because, yeah, it might be low, but I got breast cancer.
Yeah.
And if previous, like some tests, I wouldn't have had it. So I think, and obviously there is this thing about, you know, when you're younger than 50, your boob is like denser. So it's harder to pick up things, which I understand. I do believe it's people's different situations. So for me, you know, I'd already had 2 children. I breastfed, so my boobs weren't the perkiest. Do you know what I mean? So it was, they did it and they was able to see it. So I do, you know, whether it can be a mammogram or a scan, you know, because I had a scan as well with that, there has to be something put in place. That
Completely.
Know, for the younger person, because even like with my video went out, the amount of messages I got from people that were like early 20s, mid-20s that had it as well. So it's longer. It's just, you know, it's just like you said, it's just not spoke about enough because it isn't, you know, there's younger people than me that are getting it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And do you know, Jamie, I don't know if you do, but like if you were to request, could you request a mammogram from your doctor's surgery, or would you kind of get kind of an automated response back and say, well, no, you're not 50, blah, blah, blah. Would you kind of have to, I suppose, see if you've got any symptoms or say that you may have felt a lump for a mammogram, or is it quite easy for you to just call a doctor and say, hey, listen, I would like a mammogram to check up on my boobs because I just want to be, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry?
Yeah, I don't know the definite answer for that, but what I assume and I feel like would happen is that they'd be like, you're too young.
Really?
Young because of your boobs being denser and all the rest of it. I feel like that is.
And it's so important because, like you say, we can average everything or anything, but you know, from that one video that you've put out, that I think it's about 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
You've had I think it's had over 200,000 views. No.
Yeah, I can't
It's, you know, which is, and that's you just telling your story. But I also think, you know, that's you reaching out for it at the start. But you've also, you know, tried to save many people's lives with this video. And I think that is what is so important with what you're doing, because it is key to talk about it. Yes, okay, I know that it does say 8 out of 10 cases of breast cancer happen in women over 50. But you are living proof that, you know, under 50 you can still get breast cancer. And like you say, there are many women probably in their early 20s, early 30s that have either been through or are going through what you have been through. And it needs to be spoken about, because it's almost like when you read things like that, it's almost like, I suppose as a woman you might just think, oh, it's cool, I'm 30, I'm not going to get it.
No, exactly.
So you won't even bother. You know, and I think that is what's super scary, because like you said, when you caught your cancer, you were stage 2, right? And there's 4 stages of cancer, I believe. It's stage 1, 2, 3, 4. One's the kind of earliest, and stage 4 is kind of the really, really bad, when it's gone kind of really far. So you were very lucky in that sense. But, you know, without us doing these little things that could effectively save our lives, you may have found it too late. So it's such a blessing that you didn't. But I just think it's so important to stress for women to get mammograms and to check their boobs.
What I'd love to do, you know, it's really hard now with obviously this whole pandemic, but what I think 100% needs to be done is it needs to start off with, you know, in school, secondary schools, like they need to be able to, you know, teach young ladies how to check their boobs, because they get education, you know, to protect them from getting pregnant, but they're not trying to protect them from actually getting like life-threatening things. So no, completely, I agree. And they're also effectively not helping them protect themselves. Because like I said to you, I've never been shown ever how to check my boobs. Like, and I said to you, Jane, like, I don't know, like if I was feeling my boobs, what am I feeling for? In my whole 32 years of life, I've never been shown how to do that. And I think when I think on that, I just think, what? That's crazy. You know, it's so crazy. So the more that we can talk about it, and, you know, I've got at least 5 women in my life that I know that have been affected by breast cancer. And that's huge. Considering we're living in a current pandemic, and I don't know anybody in my life right now that has coronavirus, but I know 5 women that have been through or that are going through breast cancer in my lifetime. So when you look at that and you look at the statistics of that, I just think it's crazy. You know, and that is why I just feel like you need to keep telling your story and keep fighting a good fight. No, 100%, James. So can we go back to as well, let's talk about a few symptoms of breast cancer, because
one of the key things that you said it to me, and then when I was doing some research, I read it on the Cancer U or Research UK website, whatever, and it says that pain usually isn't a sign of breast cancer. Now, you did have pain in your boob. That was how you found out you had breast cancer, right?
And that's what it is. I've always grown up hearing from, you know, professionals and just people that breast cancer doesn't hurt. So that was one of the reasons initially why I wasn't too worried, and I didn't go to the doctor straight away, because I was like, oh, you know, it's hurting, so it's probably is like a cyst or something.
And what was that pain like, James? Just if you can explain it, you know, just in case anybody may have felt a similar thing. I'm not saying that it is that, and we don't want people to panic, but I just think it's important to share these things because, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. Make that doctor's appointment. Definitely. Hopefully it's nothing.
Yes. Well, it is. It was kind of like a shooting pain. I kept getting like a shooting pain. That's why initially I thought maybe it was indigestion or something. Or kind of a bit like a stitch as well at times.
Really?
Then it was like, obviously, when I did feel, when I found it was sore to touch.
Your actual boob?
The actual lump.
Oh, the lump itself was sore to touch.
Yeah. So that's
okay. And so when you felt that, sorry, Jamie, so when you were feeling the pain and stuff, was it just in the actual initial boob that had the lump? The other boob was fine?
Yeah.
Okay, which is really interesting. And just some other signs, guys, for anyone that is watching and doesn't know different symptoms that you can look out for. Signs can be obviously pain. That can be one of them, even though it says, you know, that it's not, or that there's a low chance of it being pain. There can be a change in size and shape or one or both of your breasts.
Yep.
You can actually have discharge from either one or both of your nipples. Lumps or swelling in either your armpits or under the arm, which was something that you said to me that I was like, you don't even think about that, do you?
And that's what I was going to mention, actually, that, you know, when checking, it's actually, you have to check from your collarbone to your, what's it called? You know, just by your stomach. So it's like from the, so it's from the stomach, and then it's from your armpit to your cleavage. So it's actually quite a wider bit that you have to check.
That you actually have to check.
Boob.
No, completely.
Yeah.
So from your, okay, right, let's get into this in a second. Let me finish this. So we've got, okay, the lump or the swelling in your armpits or your arm, dimples on the skin of your breasts, a rash on or around your nipple, change in the appearance of your nipple, such as it being sunken into your breast. So they are some of the symptoms which could potentially mean, it doesn't mean 100%, but they could potentially mean that they are, you know, signs of symptoms of breast cancer. Now, Jamie, let's go into detail about what you just said, because I think it's super important. Like I said, I've never been shown how or where to check my boobs. So can you kind of, obviously we don't have to be on camera touching ourselves up, do you know what I mean? But let's just go through and let everybody know that's watching how to check your boobs correctly, because I think it's so important and we really, really need to raise awareness. Yeah.
First and foremost, I do want to say that, you know, through my journey, I actually wasn't shown how to do it. I've actually had to do it myself and look it up. So that's one thing. So obviously don't take Bible exactly what I'm saying. I know it is right, but I don't know the exact way to check. But I did that it was definitely from your collarbone to your abdomen. That you have to check.
So almost like is it almost like where your bra would sit?
Yeah, just
like here.
Yeah, well, I think a bit lower down. Yeah, there you're right. Yes, that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's okay to use like your fingers, a few fingers to check round.
Right.
And then it's from your armpit.
Yeah.
All across to like in between your cleavage.
And that goes straight underneath your boob.
Yeah, because that
so straight under here.
Yeah.
To there.
The whole.
The whole armpit.
In the armpit, that is still classed as breast cancer.
Yeah, which is like I said, that's something that I never knew, because I would just initially check my boobs. Yeah. But so it's really important to check under your armpit. And what about your arm? Any the top of your arm or not?
The top of the arm. I'm looking at, when I looked into it, they didn't say anything about the arm. It was more the armpit and that in between and down.
Yeah, no, definitely. So ladies and gents, because that's another thing as well that I did just want to check when I was doing my research. So we have 1 in 7 women will get breast cancer throughout their lifetime, and it's 1 in 100 men. Now I know that those figures are so small when it comes to men getting breast cancer, but I also want to stress that men can get breast cancer too, you know, so this is also important for them. I think statistically there's about 360 cases of men that have breast cancer in the UK, where there's 55,000 women a year in the UK that are diagnosed with breast cancer. So this is actually huge, you know. It is absolutely massive. Can you hear me?
So obviously, knowing 5 people along my journey, I've through friends and stuff, I've known about 5 as well, people that have through it, and they're all like my age, a bit older. So
really,
it's a lot more. It's getting a lot more, unfortunately common than people realise. That's why I feel like something needs to be done now.
No, 100%. The time is now, and I just think everything that you're doing, Jane, with it being, October and it being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this is so important, and we just need to spread this video. I feel like everyone needs to hear your story, the story that you put on Facebook. Guys, again, can I stress, if you've not watched it, please go to Jamie's Facebook or to my Facebook. It's on there. I've shared it as well, and it is just such... I don't want to use the word beautiful, but I feel like I have to use the word beautiful because it's so raw and it's so honest, and you literally captured everything that you went through, Jamie, which, like I said, you're so bloody brave for doing that, because there were moments when you were kind of at your happiest, there was you and Laura dancing at Christmas, to moments, when you're crying on the phone because you're realizing I'm about to lose my hair and I really don't want to have this happen to me, but there's nothing I can do. It's such a beautiful little montage. It honestly is, and it's so touching, and I just really want you to keep pushing this story because I think it's so important. And like you say, I actually don't know. I know a couple of people our age that have had it, but primarily the ladies that I do know that have had it are older, and the one gentleman that I know of that has actually had it, he is also quite old, but it's still super important to get this message across and to let people know, because this can be prevented. And I also know, which I've not done, I don't know so much research on, maybe you can help me, but so you don't have, and were you tested for the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene? Now, this is the gene primarily associated with breast cancer, am I right?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Okay, so when you were diagnosed, were you checked, did you have to have like any tests to see if you actually had this gene?
Yeah, straight away they said to me about that. And they do that through a blood test.
Okay.
Blood test done, and then thankfully it came through negative,
which is amazing, because that means that effectively, because I believe if you do have the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, there is a chance that you could actually pass that from parent to child.
It is, yeah,
because I know that, I don't believe, from what I've read, breast cancer is actually usually hereditary. I don't believe it is usually hereditary, but if you have the BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, it can be passed down.
Yeah, it's funny enough, I can't remember the exact same one, but I know that they said to me if I was positive, my 2 boys would have been at a higher risk of I think it was prostate. It was some sort of, it wasn't breast, it was another type of cancer.
Okay, was it ovarian?
No, it was it was kids. So the boy.
Oh no, they're boys. They wouldn't have ovarian. Sorry.
Is it? I can't say it.
Prostate cancer. Yeah, prostate cancer.
That's what they would have been, and then obviously for my sisters, it would have been breast.
Okay, so and that's what the gene would have heightened if you were positive for it.
Yes.
And
then taken both boobs as well.
And they what? Sorry.
They would have taken both boobs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about your surgery. So you're currently actually awaiting reconstructive surgery, right, Jane?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? They're basically going to restructure your boobie? Yeah.
So basically, I have skin grafts done. So obviously they'll take it from my leg, I believe, my belly or my back, obviously to build the outside boob.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, they would, try and keep it as natural as possible. So they'll use like your fat to put inside. But if you have, I think you have to have an implant.
Really? And so do you know what you're going to have yet or not?
No, I'm really trying not to think about it because it's really stressing me out, because I've just got a really funny feeling that they're going to say that I haven't got enough fat for it.
Really?
In that case, it's just going to be, I don't really know, but obviously I'm not going to be able to have one fake boob. I'd look ridiculous. So that would be another, I don't know if they would pay for me to get the other one done or if I would have to pay. So it's just a bit, and going back to the test, if obviously the bracket test was positive, they would have taken back. I generally wish that it, for my own sake, it was, because I would have preferred them to have taken both, because now, like, it's something, being so young, I'm always going to worry in the future. Plus, when you have, I can't say for any cancer, but I know for breast cancer, once it's gone, you're still at a high risk of again, I believe, in the first 2 years.
Yeah, I did read that in the first 2 or 3 years.
Concern for me as well. So I do wish in hindsight that they'd taken both.
They'd taken both of them. No, and I understand that, Jamie, but we have to keep positive.
Yes.
100%. We have to keep positive, and I know that you are such a positive person with everything that you've been through. But one thing that I do really want to ask you, and I know you mentioned it a little bit at the beginning of the show, you know, you said that today you're having a bit of a down day. Like, how are you feeling mentally after everything you've been through? Because right now I know that you're having to wait for your reconstructive surgery due to corona yet again. And so you may have to wait an actual year until you can get this operation done, right? So it's almost right now that I don't want to say, but do you know what I mean? It's kind of, you've been through the chemo, you've been through your mastectomy, you've been through everything. Now you're coming out the other side. It's almost like you've got time to just maybe think and reflect, and your emotions must be everywhere because you're only human. How are you feeling, like, in yourself?
I mean, 100%, I would say now's the time that I'm probably more struggling. So I think going through the process, I kind of just dealt with it. I was just like, this has got to be done. It's got to be done. And I just went with it. And then once it was all over, and especially when I've got the breather now, it's like, it's probably hit me now. And so, you know, and when I've spoke to like professionals, they have said that is very, very normal. That happens. They find that it's almost like you grieve. You go through like a grieving stage afterwards, and that's definitely what I'm going through. And I think where I probably, you know, held everything in, maybe I should have cried more and addressed things more at the time, and maybe I wouldn't have been struggle so much now. But it is, I'm definitely, you know, I do struggle now, day to day, and I'm still, like I said, I'm still, you know, even though I've finished treatment and stuff, I'm still suffering with, you know, the physical side. Like, I'm still suffering with some of the side effects and obviously side effects of the surgery. So, you know, it is still a long road, which at the time, after going through everything, I was thinking, okay, I'll be back to normal next month. But it's not like that, you know. It is a long process, and it does take time. But I'm definitely still grateful that I'm here and I'm able to tell the story, do you know what I mean? So that always is in my head. I have a day where I'll like moan about saying we'll get down, but I'm like, listen, life's good. I'm here.
I hear you. And I think that's why you're so commendable, James. And this is why I just feel like you need to keep shining your light. And like you said to me, you feel it's your calling, you know, to help inspire people and help raise awareness. And one of the things that really touched me, that I just thought, this woman is like bloody Mother Teresa. You said to me, you got that call from your doctor to say that you had the all clear, right? And that you wouldn't need radiotherapy.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you actually said you felt so sad for the people that don't get that phone call.
Yeah, that's God's honest truth. That was the first thing that came in my head. I was like, and I cried because I was like, there's just so many people out there that don't get that.
You know what? You just have the biggest heart. And my advice to you would be, just take each day as it comes, which I'm sure you are. Be kind to yourself every single day, Jamie, and just do what makes you happy, because it's those things in life that are so important. We have to do what makes us happy. Do you know what I mean? Because to me, that is the whole epitome of being alive, period. Like, whether it's job, work, love, relationship, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, be happy. And I just think, you know, when you have your down days, sit in your shit and have your down days. Tomorrow's another day. Get back up again. You're only human. And you have been through what, you know, many people in this lifetime will never go through. And you're still here smiling. You're still an amazing mum. I'm sure you're still a beautiful, wonderful girlfriend, the biggest sister. Do you know what I mean? The bestest sister, should I say. So I just really want you to be proud of you and look in that mirror every single day and say that you're proud of yourself, because it's so important.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting there. I definitely am getting there.
And it's going to be a journey, because it's like right now, this is your healing process. Now that you've got this time, it's like all the snowflakes are about to settle. And, you know, you just now need to just breathe and stroll and take each day as it comes, like you say, you know, and just whatever comes your way, but just keep a positive mindset as best as you can. And I think it's so important as well to keep positive people around you.
That's what I was going to say. That is key. 100%. Yeah. It really, really is.
No, definitely. So, Jane, what does the future hold for you?
Well, the future, again, right now I'm just taking things day by day, but I definitely know that, you know, moving forward, I definitely want to be able to help people, you know, in different ways. Just enjoy life, enjoy the little things. Just, you know what I mean? Just like, you know, appreciate family more, and just like what you've got. Yeah,
no, completely. In the present moment, live in the present moment, which I think that's something that this whole one of the, I know Corona has been such a nightmare for everybody, and it's been so shit and so dark and la 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 la. But I think one of the positives that I've taken from being in this lockdown is, like you say, you know, living in the present moment and appreciating the little things. It's the little things that are our blessings. Yeah. And I feel that somehow post-Corona, we were so caught up in life and moving so quickly, you know, that we didn't have time to actually just sit back, take a breath and say, you know what, I'm so grateful for my family. I'm grateful for this today. I'm grateful for that. So 100% just keep enjoying those little blessings is what I'd say. No, definitely. And just really quickly, guys, before we go, I just want to go over some statistics, because as Jamie said, mammograms are super, super important. I know she's advocating that we actually get the age lowered from 50 down to 30 or whatever it might be, because of how important it is. And I just want to add that, you know, breast screening saves 1,300 lives per year. This is how serious, you know, we're talking that this stuff is. So if anybody has any issues, or they feel that anything that we've spoken about, you know, they may have any symptoms, again, it's not that we want to panic anybody. We're not medical professionals here at all. But, you know, Jamie's speaking from her experience and the research that we've done. Go to a doctor, check your boobs and go to the doctor. Don't put it off. That's the last thing you want to do. Please don't put it off. No. And just, you know, let's try and decrease the risk of people, you know, getting breast cancer by checking themselves and being able to know what to do. Yeah, definitely. Jane, do you have any words of inspiration for anybody that may be suffering, you know, with breast cancer, or has maybe been through the same thing as you and, you know, just needs a bit of encouragement?
Yeah, well, I genuinely would just say, you know, keep positive. You can do this. Just take each day as it comes. Surround yourself with like positive people, positive energy. You know, just, I think, have your days. If you're feeling down, feel down, but just pick yourself up, because there's always someone worse off than you. And, you know, life's too short. You just got to enjoy it, and just try and try and make the most, or just like be as positive, and just even like hold on to the little things. Try and focus on other things. Try not to focus on what's happening right now, like wherever it may be, but just focus yourself on something else. Yeah, no, 100%. Jamie, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your truth, inspiring everybody. Guys, this is Real Relevant and Right Now, episode 19. Check your boobs. Definitely. It is October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Listen, this girl is an absolute amazing empress. You've got such a fighting spirit, Jamie, and I honestly wish you the healing and the happiness for the future. And I definitely think we'll get you back on the show maybe in 6 months' time, just to see where you're at and see what's happening. And I honestly, you need to start this fashion accessory business. Get on bloody YouTube or Instagram, whatever, because I think so many people will just gravitate to your energy. But thank you so much for being on the show. Guys, this is Jamie Deane. This is Real Relevant and Right Now, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you.